My beloved brothers and sisters, my soul leans forward in grace today to whisper to you a sacred truth. There are treasures inside you, mighty treasures that God himself has cautioned you to guard. Yes, he has. Not out of fear, not out of shame, but because some things are too holy for careless hands. There are 5 secrets you must carry gently, like a candle in a raging storm. Let me tell you, if you hold them close, they will protect you. If you squander them, the world may try to use them against you. Now, lean in close, for wisdom is never shouted. It is handed from heart to heart like a priceless jewel. First, never reveal the depth of your pain to just anyone. My dear, I ask that you listen closely, for I speak not with the authority of a prophet, but with the quiet knowing that comes from walking through the deepest parts of life. I speak from a place of understanding, of experiencing that most sacred of human journeys, the journey of pain. There are parts of us, wounds that only God can see, that are too precious to be shared lightly. And so, God has whispered to me, and perhaps now to you, that there is one truth that must be guarded with the greatest care. Never reveal the depth of your pain to just anyone. The world, as it spins on its axis, has always been a place where suffering is common to man. We know pain. We wear it like a cloak, woven with the threads of loss, betrayal, heartache, and disappointment. It is an undeniable part of the human experience. But just because we know it doesn't mean we must offer it up on a platter for all to see. For not all who gaze upon your wounds can be trusted to treat them with the tenderness they deserve. Some will not understand your suffering, and others will only see it as an opportunity to exploit. And so I say again, protect the deepest parts of your heart, those tender places that ache with sorrow, from the gaze of just anyone. There is a sanctity in pain that few can truly comprehend. There is a power in it, but only when it is handled with respect, with care, and with love. Pain is not a burden that should be passed around like a trinket, for it is not a mere thing to be shared. It is a journey, a lesson, a scar etched into the soul. When you walk through pain, you walk with God, whether you know it or not. God has a way of taking our suffering and transforming it, shaping it into something beautiful, something strong, something that will one day be a source of strength for others. But when your pain is exposed too soon, too freely, it can become a weapon. It can become a source of weakness rather than a wellspring of strength. You see, there are those in the world whose hearts are filled with nothing but the emptiness of their own hunger. They are so starved for the attention of others, for the approval of their peers, that they will feast on your pain without a second thought. And in their eyes you are nothing more than a vessel for their comfort, a stage for their own self-centeredness. They may tell you they understand, they may claim to care, but do not be fooled. For the world is full of those who cannot even understand the weight of their own hearts, much less the weight of yours. And so, when you offer them the depths of your suffering, they may take it and discard it, or worse, use it to fuel their own need for validation. Guard your pain, my dear, for it is too precious to be wasted. Not every heart that smiles at you is a heart that is safe. Not every ear that listens is an ear that knows how to listen, with empathy, with compassion, with a true understanding of the human spirit. The act of revealing your pain is an act of vulnerability, and while vulnerability can be a source of connection, it can also leave you open to harm. When you expose your deepest wounds too freely, you risk the chance that others will not treat them with the sacredness they deserve. The heart that knows true compassion, the heart that has walked through its own valley of shadows, will understand the weight of your suffering. They will recognize the sacredness of your pain, and they will hold it in their hands with the gentleness of one who knows that such things must be treated with reverence. But there are too few of these hearts in the world, my dear. Too few who understand that pain, in its most honest form, is not something to be tossed about carelessly. It is not something to be paraded before the world in search of sympathy or attention. It is a quiet thing, a sacred thing, meant to be honored in the stillness of solitude, in the embrace of prayer, and in the presence of God. Now, I do not say that you should never share your pain with anyone, for we are not meant to walk through this world alone, but I do say this: be mindful. Be careful who you allow into that sacred space where your hurt resides. The world will not always treat your suffering with the kindness it deserves, and when you open your heart to just anyone, you risk the chance that they will trample upon it, rather than holding it with the tenderness and care it requires. There are some people, my dear, who will see your pain as an opportunity to seek validation for themselves, to extract sympathy, to draw attention to their own struggles, and in the process, they will fail to acknowledge the sacredness of yours. They will not treat it with the reverence it deserves, and so it is up to you to protect it, to safeguard it until you find the right heart, the right soul, the right spirit, who can handle it with grace. You must remember, pain is a private garden. It is not a thing to be paraded for the world to see. It is something that must be nurtured in the quiet corners of your soul, tended to with care, watered with tears, and allowed to grow in the company of faith. God knows the weight of your burdens, beloved. He has walked with you through the darkest moments of your life. He has heard the cries of your heart, and he will continue to walk with you. Trust in his presence. Trust in his healing. And when you are ready, when your wounds are healed, when your spirit is strong enough, then and only then will your pain be transformed into the strength of wisdom, and you will share it not as a burden, but as a gift. But until then, protect it, guard it, and carry it with grace, for there is power in your pain, but only when it is treated with the reverence it deserves. Second, then never reveal the full measure of your wealth. There is something deeply sacred about the richness of your life. It is not simply measured in coins or gold. No, true wealth is far more profound. The world teaches us to chase material things, to hunger for recognition and the applause of the masses. But what the world does not always see, and what I implore you to understand, is that the true wealth in your life is not visible to the naked eye. It resides within your spirit, in the quiet moments of peace, in the love that surrounds you, and in the abundance of grace that fills your heart. And yet, God whispers a powerful truth: never reveal the full measure of your wealth. Yes, beloved, I know it is tempting. I know how easy it can be to allow your blessings to spill over, to share the joys of your successes and the richness of your life. But I tell you, it is not wise to place all that you possess in the hands of strangers, or even in the hands of those you believe to be friends. For there are those among us who, like vultures, will circle the fullness of your life, looking for a way to strip it bare. And there are those who, without understanding, will take your wealth and trample upon it, for they are too focused on their own emptiness to see the beauty of what you have. There is a deep truth that we often overlook. The more we show, the more we risk. When you walk through life with your riches on full display, the world takes note. The hungry eyes of others will seek to claim a portion of what is yours. It is human nature, unfortunately, to desire what others possess, and some will not hesitate to take it. When you make known to the world the abundance in your life, you invite both admiration and envy, and either one can turn dangerous. For envy, dear one, is a thing that eats at the heart. It is a dark and poisonous thing that can blind others to their own blessings, and when it takes root, it can twist a friendship into something far less than beautiful. But wealth is not only a matter of material things. Oh no, it is much more than that. Your true wealth lies in your heart, in your wisdom, in your peace of mind, and in the love you give and receive. It lies in the strength that you find to rise after you have fallen, in the courage to stand tall in the face of adversity. This is the wealth that God has placed within you, and it is that wealth which must be guarded with the greatest care, for when you expose the fullness of your heart to just anyone, there is a risk. There is a risk that your most sacred qualities will be taken for granted, misunderstood, or worse, exploited. The world does not always know how to handle what you possess, and there are those who would use your kindness, your generosity, and your wisdom for their own gain. There are people who will see your good heart and take advantage of it, who will take your love and twist it and turn it into something that serves them. That is why it is so important to be discerning. Be careful who you allow into the sacred space of your life, and do not reveal the full measure of your wealth to everyone who asks. Just because someone is present in your life does not mean they should have access to all that you are. There is a beauty in being humble and keeping the depth of your blessings between you and God. God is the giver of all good things, and it is from him that you draw your strength. When you share only part of your wealth, when you hold some things back, you allow room for God to work in ways that you cannot yet see. God has a way of taking your blessings and multiplying them, of creating abundance in your life that you never thought possible. When you protect the fullness of your wealth, you create space for God's power to be at work. I do not say that you should hide your blessings or live in fear of others. No, I believe that we are meant to share what we have, to give to those in need, to lift others up when they are down. But there is a difference, beloved, between giving from a place of love and generosity and exposing the very heart of your wealth to those who may not understand its worth. When you give too freely, too openly, you risk the possibility that your gifts will be taken without appreciation or respect. There are people in this world who will take from you without ever acknowledging the value of what they've received, who will use your wealth for their own purposes without understanding the sacrifice or the intention behind it. The lesson here, my dear, is not to become stingy or to shut yourself off from the world. It is not to become fearful or to hold on to your blessings so tightly that you become selfish. No, the lesson is to practice discernment, to be mindful of where and how you share the fullness of your wealth. There is wisdom in knowing when to open up and when to keep certain things between you and God. Your wealth, whether it be material, emotional, or spiritual, is a sacred trust. It is a gift, and it must be treated as such. When you give from a place of love, but always remember that not everyone is prepared to receive your gifts with the gratitude they deserve. In the quiet moments, when you reflect on the fullness of your life, I ask you to remember that your wealth is not for display. It is a treasure, a gift meant to be protected and cherished. When you keep the depths of your blessings close to your heart, you are honoring the sanctity of what God has placed within you. You are allowing the richness of your life to grow and blossom in ways that others may never understand, and you are creating space for God to multiply what you have. So remember, beloved, never reveal the full measure of your wealth to just anyone, for there is power in keeping some things sacred, and there is strength in knowing that what you have is enough. Let your wealth, in all its forms, be a quiet testament to the grace of God in your life. Let it be a source of quiet strength, a light that shines not for the world to see, but for God alone. Third, and never reveal your next move. The path that lies ahead of you, my dear, is paved with choices. Choices that shape your future, choices that reflect the depth of your spirit. And one of the most sacred truths I have learned in my years on this earth is this: never reveal your next move. The plans God has laid before you are precious and personal, and it is not for the world to know until the time is right. Your life is not a performance for the masses, your destiny not a spectacle for public consumption. God has placed in you a vision, a calling, a journey that only you can walk, and it is for you alone to decide when and how the world will witness its unfolding. There is a quiet strength in walking in silence, beloved. It is not weakness to keep your plans to yourself. Rather, it is wisdom. You see, when you reveal too much too soon, you open the door for doubt to enter. The world has a way of casting shadows over dreams, of planting seeds of uncertainty and fear. And there are those among us, perhaps even well-meaning, who will not hesitate to question, to criticize, or to speak words of caution that could halt your momentum. God has a purpose for you, a purpose that is uniquely yours, and it is not meant to be weighed down by the opinions of others. When you share your next move with the world before it is fully formed, you invite both the praise and the scorn of those who do not understand. They may offer words of encouragement, yes, but more often than not they will offer their own fears, their own doubts, and with every well-meaning caution, every whispered worry, you risk having your dreams diluted, your spirit shaken. There is a peace that comes with keeping your next step between you and God. It is not that you are hiding your light. No, beloved, your light will shine regardless. But sometimes, in the quiet of your own heart, it is necessary to protect that light from the winds of criticism and skepticism. It is in the silence of the unknown that faith is born, and it is through the whispers of God's voice that the next step becomes clear. Trust in His timing. Trust in His guidance. God does not call you to walk in the open for all to see at every turn. No, He calls you to trust Him with each step, knowing that He will reveal what you need when the time is right. There is no need to broadcast your every move, to announce your intentions to the world. Trust that the work you are doing is sacred and that in due time others will see the fruit of your labor. The world will not understand the process, and that is as it should be. Consider, if you will, the great men and women of faith who have walked before you. How often do we look back at their lives and see the beauty of what they accomplished, only to realize that their success was the result of quiet determination, of steps taken in solitude, of dreams held close to the chest, until they were ready to be birthed into the world? They did not reveal their next move at every turn. They did not broadcast their plans before they were ready. They understood that the process of creation is sacred, and that some things are meant to grow in the soil of secrecy until they are ripe for the world to see. And so, my dear, when you feel the urge to share your next step with the world, take a moment to ask yourself, why? Why do you feel the need to expose your plans before they are fully formed? Is it to seek validation, to garner support, or to receive praise? Or is it because you are uncertain and you hope that others' words will confirm your own sense of direction? If it is the latter, then know that your strength does not lie in the approval of others, but in your trust in God's guidance. You do not need the world to validate your steps. You need only His voice. And that voice is the one you must learn to listen to above all others. There is power in holding back, in not rushing to tell the world everything you are about to do. When you keep your plans close to your heart, you protect them from the forces that might try to thwart them. You also protect yourself from the anxiety that comes with too much attention, too much expectation. The world has a way of placing pressure on us, beloved. And the moment we open ourselves to it, we risk being swept away by the current of others' desires for our lives. But when you move in silence, when you let your actions speak louder than your words, you allow yourself the freedom to move without the burden of others' expectations. Think of the seed that is planted in the earth. It does not cry out for attention as it grows. It does not announce to the world, "Look at me, I am about to sprout." No, it grows in silence, in the quiet of the earth, until it is strong enough to break through the surface and reach toward the light. It is the same with you, my dear. Your dreams, your calling, your purpose are like that seed. They are growing in the quiet places, in the secret chambers of your heart, where they are protected from the harsh winds of doubt and fear. When the time is right, they will emerge, and the world will see them in their fullness. So I say to you, do not rush. Do not be in haste to reveal your next move to the world. Keep it between you and God for now, and trust in His timing. Let your actions speak for you. Let your work be the proof of your vision. When you walk in faith, the world will see your light, but only when it is meant to shine. Until then, walk in silence, walk in grace, and know that your next move will come to fruition in its own perfect time. And when it does, the world will be ready for it, and it will be all the more powerful, because it was birthed in the quiet of your heart, in the trust of God's timing. Hoarding, never reveal your deepest fears. There is a power in silence that cannot be underestimated, beloved. In a world that often urges us to speak up, to share our opinions, to make our voices heard, there is a quiet strength in knowing when to remain silent. We are taught to believe that our worth is tied to our words, that to be seen and heard is the path to validation and success. But I have learned through the passage of time that some things are far more powerful when left unsaid. And so I say to you with great tenderness and wisdom, never reveal your pain. Pain in its truest form is not something to be paraded before the world. It is a personal experience, a deep and sacred struggle that shapes us in ways we may never fully understand. There are those who, through no fault of their own, simply do not have the capacity to understand the depth of what you are going through. They may offer their sympathy, yes, but they cannot carry your burden for you. And in their attempts to comfort, they may only remind you of the distance between what they can offer and what you truly need. There are some things, beloved, that cannot be healed by the words of others. There are some wounds that can only be soothed by the quiet balm of time, by the gentle presence of God. This is not to say that you should never seek support or share your burdens with those who care about you. No, that is not the message. There is a time for sharing, a time for leaning on others when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear alone. But there is also wisdom in knowing that not every moment of pain needs to be shared. Not every wound needs to be displayed. The world can be quick to judge, quick to offer advice, quick to offer solutions. But in the face of true pain, there are no easy answers, no quick fixes. What you need in those moments is not the approval or understanding of others, but the peace that comes from within, the strength that arises when you face your pain alone with grace and dignity. There is also a kind of freedom that comes with keeping your pain to yourself. When you reveal your suffering to the world, you risk allowing others to define it for you. You risk allowing their judgments, their assumptions, and their words to shape the narrative of your experience. But when you hold your pain close, when you allow it to be something that only you and God fully understand, you retain control over how it defines you. You choose the meaning that pain will carry in your life. It becomes a tool for growth, for resilience, for transformation, rather than something that diminishes you. In the stillness of your suffering, you may find a quiet strength that you did not know you had. When you are alone with your pain, there is space for healing to begin. You do not need the validation of others to tell you that your pain is real, that it matters, that it is worth something. You do not need the world to understand what you are going through. In the silence, you begin to understand yourself. In the quiet, you learn the depth of your own resilience, the power that resides within you to overcome, to rise above, and to transform that pain into something beautiful. It is through pain that we learn to appreciate joy, to recognize the sweetness of peace after the storm. Pain is the darkness from which the light emerges. It is the fire that refines, the water that cleanses, the pressure that creates diamonds. But not everyone is ready to witness that transformation. Not everyone will understand that your pain is not a weakness, but a process. Not everyone will see the strength that you gain in the face of suffering. And that is why it is often better to keep your pain to yourself, to allow it to shape you in private, in silence, until it has brought forth the lessons you need to learn. There is grace in knowing that you do not have to explain your suffering to anyone. There is freedom in understanding that your pain does not require an audience. God sees your struggle, beloved. He knows your heart, He knows your tears, and He will be with you in the darkest moments. You do not need to seek the approval of others, for you are already seen, already known, already loved. And in that love, you find the strength to endure, the courage to rise, and the peace to heal. So I say again, never reveal your pain to just anyone. Hold it close to your heart. Protect it, nurture it in the quiet spaces. Let it be your teacher. Let it be your guide. And when the time is right, when you have learned the lessons it has to offer, you will emerge from that pain stronger, wiser, and more whole than before. You will have a story to tell, but you will tell it not from a place of victimhood, but from a place of power, of transformation. For in the silence of your pain, you have found your strength. And that, my dear, is something that no one can ever take from you. And lastly, never reveal the secrets of your soul's covenant with God. The world, with all its noise and clamor, can sometimes drown out the quiet whispers of the heart. We are surrounded by the demands of others, by the ceaseless push to conform, to comply, to follow the dictates of society. And in the midst of this cacophony, it is easy to lose sight of something sacred, something deeply personal. And so, my beloved, I tell you now, never reveal your heart to those who do not see its value. For there are those who through ignorance or disregard will not honor the sanctity of your soul. There are those who will not understand the tenderness with which you have lived, the depth of the love you carry within, and they will trample over it without a second thought. Your heart, dear one, is precious beyond measure. It is the seat of your deepest desires, your truest self, and it is not something to be casually shared with just anyone. There is a sacredness in your heart that is meant to be protected, nurtured, and kept safe until you find those who can appreciate it. The world will tell you that love is something to be freely given, that you must open your heart to all who come, that kindness is a currency to be spent without discrimination. But I have learned that this is not true. Love is a gift, yes, but it is a gift that must be given wisely, with discernment. There are those who will accept it with reverence and gratitude, but there are also those who will see it as something to be used, manipulated, or discarded. There is wisdom in knowing when to guard your heart, beloved. You see, not everyone has the capacity to understand the fullness of your heart's offering. There are those who, in their own pain, in their own brokenness, will see your openness as a vulnerability to exploit. They will take and take, never offering in return, never giving back in the way you need. And when this happens, your heart is left hollow, drained of the very love you so freely gave. But when you protect your heart, when you reserve it for those who understand its value, you preserve the beauty that lies within you. You do not allow others to take from you what is meant to be shared only with those who are capable of holding it with care. Love is not something to be thrown about carelessly, my dear. It is a force of great power, and it must be treated with reverence. When you give your heart to someone, you are giving them a part of your soul. You are entrusting them with your dreams, your fears, your vulnerabilities. This is not something to be done lightly, for once you reveal the depths of your heart, they are no longer just yours. And so when you choose to open up to someone, to show them the tender places of your soul, it must be done with the understanding that they are capable of treating your love with the respect it deserves. If they are not, then you must not share it with them. Protect your heart, beloved, for it is sacred. In the past, I too have been guilty of giving my heart to those who are not worthy of it. I have given it freely, expecting the same in return, only to find that it was not reciprocated. I have offered my love to those who are unable or unwilling to honor it, and in doing so I left myself vulnerable to hurt, to disappointment, and to betrayal. But in that pain I learned a great truth, that not everyone deserves the fullness of your heart. Not everyone will see you as you truly are. And that is all right, beloved. For in learning this lesson, you also learn to protect the sacred spaces within you, to keep them safe for those who truly see you, for those who will not take your love for granted, but will cherish it as the treasure it is. You must learn to discern who is worthy of your heart. And this is not always an easy thing to do. There will be times when you will feel a deep urge to give, to offer yourself fully to another. But you must listen closely to the whispers of your soul, for it will tell you when someone is not worthy of what you have to give. Trust your intuition. Trust the quiet knowing that comes from within, and do not allow yourself to be swayed by the demands of others. Your love is not a commodity to be bartered with. It is a gift to be treasured, and when you give it, let it be given to those who understand its worth. There is a grace in keeping your heart reserved, in offering it only to those who can see the beauty of your spirit. This is not to say that you should close yourself off to the world, that you should stop loving or stop being kind. No, beloved. Love is meant to flow freely, but it must be directed toward those who will honor it, toward those who will treat it, toward those who will treat it with the care it deserves. If I was to consider longitudinous, no matter what, it is like a river on a cat's phone, and must only when it is allowed to flow in the right direction, only when it is channeled to where it can do the most good. Do not waste your love on those who do not see its value. Do not give your heart to those who will not recognize its sacredness. When you do, you risk losing yourself in the process. When you share your love with those who see its worth, it becomes a bond that transcends time and space. It becomes a force that uplifts, that heals, that transforms. But when you give your heart to those who do not see it, it becomes a burden, a weight that drags you down, a wound that will take time to heal. So, my dear, protect your heart. Guard it with all the wisdom and love that resides within you. Share it only with those who can see you for who you truly are, who can honor the depth of your spirit and return the love you offer with the same reverence and care. In doing so, you will find a peace that comes from knowing that your love is not in vain, that it is not being wasted on those who do not appreciate its value. And as you walk through this world, remember, you are worthy of love that is given freely, that is returned in kind, and that honors the sacredness of your being. Your heart is precious, and it deserves to be shared only with those who can see its true worth. Trust in your own wisdom, dear one, and protect your heart. Let it be a treasure that is cherished, a gift that is given only to those who understand its beauty.